Hello there, this is Denzin, and today I'm looking at this, Violent Dark. If you're not aware of this game, it's from Blacksite Studios, American company. Good thing what they do is PDFs. So if you don't want to pay to have things shipped to the UK, which is where I am, then you can buy the rulebook, print it off, as I have here, and you don't need to buy the physical game. This is very good if you've got a lot of minis already and a lot of scenery. Of course, a lot of people want the physical stuff, including rulebooks, but being so far away, it's good to have this option. Now, if you're not aware of this game, it's a very bespoke little game which Blacksite Studios do a lot of, like Don't Look Back. All really good. Really good if you're a solo player. This is a brilliant solo player game, or a co-op game where you all try and survive the Violent Dark. Violent Dark is basically a science fiction horror game, so if you're a fan of Alien, this is what you need. If you have been looking for an Alien game, I've been playing it today. It took me an hour and a half to play this game as a solo mode. First time I played it, had a lot of fun with it, quite stressful, but it can be quite fun, I think, if you have a little team of players against the AI of the alien horrors that lurk in the darkness. Now, it's not obviously an alien game. It is designed to be very generic. It is a sci-fi horror game, but clearly it follows the alien style aesthetic. It has crew members floating through space in cryopods, woken up by some strange computer and told to go on little missions. And you have to fulfill those missions to survive. So if you want to use whatever minis you've got, be it Stargrave minis, anything really, you can do what you want. But me being me, I have a lot of alien themed stuff, so this was perfect for that. You work for various corporations. One of them is a bit of a nod to Don't Look Back, if you know that game. So it has a bit of fluff. It has its own universe. It has the corporations that you work for in the depths of space. And of course, you're expendable. We all know that. And you're going off to explore, set up new colonies, and do whatever corporate shenanigans you've been sent off to do. So the game can be set in various locations. It could be on a planet. It could be in a facility on a planet. It could be in a space station or a spaceship. And your crew start the game in cryosleep, wake up, receive a mission, and they have to fulfill it. I don't use a cryo chamber. Now, every board should have a cryo chamber, which is your starting point, and you wake up in that little room. It's a secure room. The nasties, whatever they are, can't get in it. For me, I used a stairwell as my entry point. So my crew could be downstairs on another level, and they're sent up and come out that way. That's what I did. So you don't have to use a cryosleep chamber as such, but that's what I use to represent that. So the boards can be whatever you want, outdoors, indoors, mix of the two. And the boards are split into sectors. So you have little area effect incidents, which can affect sector 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I did a similar thing. I split up my board into the morgue over here, sector 1, sector 2, operations, sector 3, sector 4, generic areas. So if there's an area effect, it will affect those sections. The board is 2 by 2, 2 foot by 2 foot. And every crew, when they do skill checks, we have various levels of dice, depending on how good you are. So 6-sided dice, 8, 10, 12, with little bonuses in between. And there'll be a target number. So obviously the higher the dice you have, the more likely you are to succeed. And if you're shooting something or attacking something, the creature has a defense value. It rolls its dice. You roll your value for be it melee or range. See if you can beat its defense value. And we have our missions, different missions. So we have a roll, and a lot of it is rolling on tables, this game. So it's all very random. You don't know what you're going to be doing. So you roll to see what the computer, the ISS computer, I suppose, the mother computer, basically, telling you what the mission is. It might be eliminate threats, Where is crewmate Pat? Go and find him. What's happened to him? Hazardous readings, go and explore, and off you go. There's also what they call high threat areas. Now, I used little blip tokens from Gale Force 9. If you have a number of different Alien games, you can use those tokens. They have their own tokens, but if you have something you can already use, they're very handy. And these high threat areas appear on the board randomly, and they sort of move around randomly. As you can see, I've got one here from the game I've just played in the middle of the wall, because they don't follow the corridors. They can go straight through walls, and that makes sense because they could be in the air vents and going anywhere they want. And it's not necessarily an evil nasty. It could be you roll on a table to see what it actually is. It could be some sort of event, the power goes off or something like that. It doesn't have to be a creature. So they move around, and the closer they are to you, the more minuses you get for having it close by. And there's different modes of play for being on a planetary surface or in a facility. So they tailor it. So you have little environmental rules that you can use. You can roll randomly on the table. If you're in a facility, you can see what there is bodies lying around. What does that do? The room's in darkness, which makes it hard to see, of course. And then a similar thing for outdoor. You've got remains of a crashed ship. You've got spores. So you can go indoors, outdoors, and you've got different environmental effects, which is really nice. I also like the fact that you have airlock doors and hydraulic death. You could close the door on somebody if they're standing in the doorway and just squish them. Fantastic. That's what you want. You also have plan Bs, which are secondary objectives, if you like. I did not fulfill mine. I wanted to get the hell out. But if you're playing a bit of a campaign, these can give you bonuses and so on. It could be, again, investigate certain areas, just survive. And again, depending if you're in a facility or outside, there are different plan Bs for you to do. Choosing your crew. You usually have a crew of 4, so you can have 4 players. You can be in control of as many of those 4 characters as you like, and they're split up into different types of crew. So you've got specialist crew, who could be anything from medics to engineers and so on. The officer, who works for the corporation, never trust them. And military or mercenary personnel. So, if you want to use a colonial marine figure, you can sling them in. That's what drew me to this game, because you can use normal colonial figures, colonists basically. They don't have to be action-packed colonial marines. They can just be Joe Bloggs, getting up, I'm an engineer, why am I doing this? Why is this creature trying to kill me? I don't have a pulse rifle, please God help me. So you've got a mix of personnel. And whenever you pick a personnel, again, you've got the dice that you can roll for each stat. So strength, 6-sided dice. What are they good at? What are they bad at? And you can get very stressed out in this game. If you start failing at things, you get stressed. And the more stress you get, the more likely something bad's going to happen to you. Once you've chosen your crew, you can give them little extra abilities. And you get to choose 2 things. And they can be either from the abilities or an item. So this is general abilities. Any crew member can have these. So you might be a synthetic. You can turn that crew member into a robot. And then you can give them various items. So everyone's got access to these. So it could be a pistol. But you could have no weapon at all. You don't have to give them a gun at all, which is a bit horrific. Then we have officers' abilities, which are usually helping buffer other crew members, giving them extra action points. They can do more actual actions, basically, during the game. You usually get 2 actions for your turn, so you want to give them 3 actions and so on. The military personnel get a better weapon, but they've got better, obviously, combat skills. While specialists, you could make them a medic, so you can heal people up. They might be better at doing repairs and things like that. Scavenging for items, depending on mission profiles that you need to do. And then depending on your corporation, you might get a special ability. So you can roll a dice to randomly see what corporation is paying you, and then you get an extra ability depending on that corporation's speciality, which is quite nice. Nice little bit of flavour there. So yeah, skill checks, as I mentioned. You just roll, get over a target number. Higher the die, easier it is to do. And then melee, you can have critical failures, which ain't good. You can use pistols in hand-to-hand combat, which is quite nice. Ranged combat. Again, if you fail, it ain't good at all. You get volume of fire, which is a nice little ability here. We can rain down a lot of shots on people. You have to make a little stress test to see if you can do it, but it allows you to basically roll an extra dice of damage, which is good. Military personnel get a bonus to that. The actual dealing of damage. Now, most people have a certain amount of hit points. Most evil nasties have 30. My crew tend to have around, I had about 25, some of them had. They can go down quite rapidly if you're unlucky when you roll for damage. But if you get to 0, you might not be dead. Neither of the monsters. You can roll to see if they do some final little thing, like they jump on you, one final little slash of the tail or whatever it may be. Same with you. You might be surviving against all odds, crawling, one last ditch effort, one last action that you can do before you perish, which is lovely. One little last stand. Go out in style. But the game split up into phases. So the first phase is the computer phase, the interior ship systems phase, which is basically the AI of the game, really. So you can test to see if your crew are panicking, depending on how much stress you've got. See if they're all running around like headless chickens. If you die, you can replace a crew member with a new crew member who's been woken up from cryo and is replacing you. So as I say, I used a stairwell, so I could always just bring another crew member upstairs. Didn't happen. I didn't die. Ha ha ha. And then we have a little scan. So if there's no sort of what I would call blip tokens, but the high threat area tokens moving around the board, you bring on 2 new ones. And any on the table you can roll to see what they do. They might move around. They might reveal themselves as a creature. It might be a actual environmental issue. So then you can roll to see if the lights go out or that sort of thing. That did happen to me. Wasn't good. Then all the evil nasties move around. So if any are actually revealed, they go and run around and do their thing, which usually involves eating somebody. And then the crew finally get to go. So all the monsters go first, then you go. And just like the equipment and the abilities, you have general actions which anyone can do. So moving, shooting, aiming, shoving a creature away from you so you can get away, that sort of thing. Putting on emergency equipment, all sorts of stuff, little things that help you. Then there's some crew-specific ones. So if you're an officer, supporting your crew, giving them abilities, buffering them. The military ones, so activating a remote weapon, setting up a little sentry gun, giving covering fire. While specialist crew, again, donning heavy equipment that can help you do things and scavenging. And then the end phase, cleanup phase. There's optional rules for campaign play, which they call the continuing presence. What's quite creepy of this is that the evil aliens actually adapt as they get used to you, and they can actually increase and get better as you do, which is lovely. Yeah. But you get reputation points to spend, and you can boost your abilities, of course, as you survive, if you survive. And then rules for zero oxygen environments, little things like that. Nice. And then you got the actual creatures that you might be facing. So it's up to you what you want to use. Xenos. I use my alien figures for that, as we can see. But it could be any alien type monster you happen to have. Of course, Blacksite Studios do their own figures, of course, including 3D printable ones. So again, if you're not living in the US, you can download them, can't you? Rogue Simps. So if you have any working Joes walking around, get them in there. Pirates, parasitic Xenos, and they've all got their own special rules, which allows them to do various gribbly, nasty things. And of course, different type of games. So if you've got an alien creature running around, very different to fighting a pirate who's going to be shooting back at you. Very different style of enemy. The Charger. So if you want to use a big alien, like a Queen figure, do that one. And Mercenary Salvagers. Maybe you want to use some Weyland-Yutani Commandos or something. It could be that. And then you have a token sheet that you can print off and use. As I say, I've got a few alien games, so there's lots of tokens already had that are proxy for this. But if you want to mark off that a room's gone into darkness and so on, if it's normal lighting, well-lit room and so on, you can use them. Nice. And then you've got your character sheet. I do feel that this is a bit big. I mean, yeah, it's lovely if you are all having a crew member each. So if you've got 4 players. But if you're playing on your own, it might be good to just condense this onto one page, really, and just get four down. But yeah. So with my actual game, I use my LV427 Designs 3D prints to make my little colony complex. As I said, my cryo chamber was a stairwell. You roll randomly at the beginning of the game to see where that starting room is. So it could be anywhere. It could be in the middle of the building, the edges, as it was with me. My mission was actually to investigate one of the threat tokens, kill an actual creature, and then get a specimen sample. So I had to engage with the creatures. My plan B was to go over here to operations and fix some machinery, but there was no way I was going to do that. Also, that room was in darkness, and so was the morgue, so any range combat would have a -3, I think it is. So really difficult stuff to do. And my high threat tokens kept popping up right near me, and if they are near you, you go into a sort of defensive stance. If you're in a defensive stance, you can only sort of move once. You get a minus to shooting, but you do get a bonus to your defense, which is good. But you can't really do much. You can only do, I think, one action, so it's a bit slow. But I didn't get far. My crew, one of them went to the computer over here, which was the officer, to try and help out. Because once you go to a computer, the officer has various abilities that allow them to close doors around the board, which is nice, or reveal the threat tokens to get rid of them. So that's quite good. If you feel like you're getting pressured, there's too many coming in, you need a good roll to remove one. And to give orders and give extra action points to my crew. But my crew got around here, and all of a sudden I had about 3 threat tokens all moving in, and 2 of them were revealed straight away as alien creatures. And you can only have as many alien creatures as the threat allows. So with my particular creature, if I get my little printout here, maximum threat is 3, so I can only have 3 of the alien creatures on the board in one go. So if another blip gets revealed, instead of it being another alien, it actually buffers these guys up, so their stats get bigger, and so it's harder for me to kill them. And when they attack you, they do all 3 things here. They lunge at you first, so they can get close to you. Bursting spines, which is a little ranged attack. I mean, in the alien world, it could be a slash of the tail or a spit of the acid or whatever. And then an actual rending claws attack. And if it's a charge, first of all, then they get a bonus to it. And they've got an armoured chitin carapace type thing, so +1 to their defense to take damage. And they don't run away or anything, they're fearless. So lovely. So they came into the kill, and one of my crew is a synthetic. He took on 1 in hand-to-hand combat. You can push them back a few times, that managed to work. I had a guy who was a security officer with an assault rifle. He failed to shoot quite a lot of the time. My star of the show was my little engineer character with a flamethrower, who did manage to kill one of the creatures, then take the sample, and then leg it, whilst these 2 here managed to fend off the alien creatures enough for this guy to get out and then save the day. So whether or not these 2 would have survived, I do not know. So I ended the game with that. But I guess if you're going to do a campaign, you want to know if they get out or not, don't you, really? Really stressful, quite fun. Every roll counts. If you fail and you get stressed and the creature's still there, and then more threat tokens start moving in, you can feel the pressure. Fun game, short game, hour and a half. Not a big table setup. You could do an outdoor setup, remember, so you don't need to use this sort of terrain if you don't want to. Use what you want. And if you've got a lot of friends who you like to see die horribly around you, brilliant little co-op game as well. So yeah, that's the Violent Dark. I will definitely be playing this again, hopefully with friends in future rather than just on my own. I don't know if you've played any of the games from Blacksite, but quite fun, quite bespoke, and I don't think they really get seen enough in this side of the pond. So it'd be great if there was more availability over here. But thanks for that, and I shall see you again.